Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Um, so you just did Cocodona 250, and it is the Monday after the race, and you were already back at work today. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a nurse anesthetist. Say that three times fast, but I do anesthesia for kiddos.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where are you calling from
I'm
geographically?
from Atlanta, Georgia.
Georgia. Okay, cool. Well, I can't wait to hear about the Cocodona story. You were the second place female, which is just unreal. I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems unreal to me. Um,
Yeah, unreal.
yeah, like how are you sort of dealing with this emotionally? Like, so just shortly after the race, how are you doing?
I'm still trying to process it all. It's I know the race started a week ago, but I've just finished, I guess, 4 days ago. So it still
Right.
seems like 2 days ago. I don't know. Time, it was like a weird time warp.
Yeah.
Really know how the world happened in between there. I certainly didn't anticipate finishing second or top 10 or anything like that.
You
So it's
didn't?
no.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
you always hope for something good, but there's so many talented people running that it's just hard to imagine actually finishing something like that so well. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I briefly pulled up your ultra sign up right before this conversation. I didn't get a chance to really dig into it. Have you had a lot of success with races? It looks like you've got, a handful of 100 milers on there. Have you been second place or anything like that in any of these races before? Or
yeah, I have. I was just
okay,
actually I did the Coldwater Rumble 100 in January. It was another Air Viper race that I used just to kind of kick off training for this Cocodona 250, and I got second place there as well.
wow.
Actually, second place to Annie Hughes,
Oh,
which is
really?
yes,
Okay,
kind of cool. Uh,
very cool.
so second to Annie twice this year. It's been great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
I've had Annie on the show, I think twice, and she is fantastic. Were you able to share some miles with her, or what did that look like?
We did not share any miles. Unfortunately, she is fast and she took right
Oh,
off.
okay.
But I met her, so we interacted a bit on social media after Coldwater, and so I went up and I met her before the race, before Cocodona started, and she was so lovely and kind and sweet, and she was great. So super pumped for her too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really like her. And if I remember right, we talked a lot about ice cream when she was on the show. She really liked her ice cream. um, well, let's get into it. How did you find running? Like, how did you get into this crazy sport?
Not really on purpose. A friend of mine asked me to do a half marathon with her a long time ago, and I thought that was crazy. And I ended up doing it, obviously, and loved it, and just never looked back. And then not too long after the half marathon, then I kind of, was searching through other races and stumbled upon trail races and trail running in general. And then I did my first 50K, and then I just never looked back. Like trail running was definitely my people, and that was my thing for sure. And so I've been there ever since. I think that was 2015, maybe was my first ultra.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
And how long ago was your first half marathon?
Probably a year or two before that.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't run in school or collegiately or anything like that?
No, I was on the track team in middle school, but I hated running. I actually did the high jump, and I was terrible at it.
Okay.
That's the worst. No, I hated running. I hated track. I hated all that stuff back then.
What were you into if you hated running back in those days?
I did a lot of ballet and tap
Huh?
and stuff. That's my,
Okay, so dance.
yeah.
Did you keep up with any of that stuff? Do you still dance? Not really.
High school, no,
Yeah. Okay, okay. Did you grow up in Georgia?
I did. Yeah, I
Okay,
grew up
got it.
in Leadville. It's a real redneck little town outside.
Okay, okay. I'm guessing you've run the Cruel Jewel.
I have, yeah. I've
Okay.
only done the 50. I haven't done the 100.
Okay, okay. That's a
But
cool race. I came down there for it one year.
oh, nice. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so half marathon and then slowly started progressing into the ultras. Why running? Why did you choose running if you hated it back when you were in middle school?
I think I've honestly, I started doing a little bit because I didn't have a gym membership when I moved back to Atlanta after school, and it was just easy and free to go run outside
Mhm.
until I figured out all that stuff, and then I figured out that it actually felt kind of good, and I actually enjoyed it, and so I just kept it going.
Nice.
But I never, I went to the gym and did stuff like that, like tried to like stay in shape before, but
Mhm.
you never felt the same kind of feelings you do on a long run or on a trail or anything like that.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm injured right now and haven't been able to run for a while. And I've been riding a bike a lot, like a lot. And it's just not quite the same.
Yeah,
Like I love riding bikes, but it's not quite a run.
yeah, it's definitely never quite a run.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So did you have any talent from the beginning when you did your first half marathon or your first marathon? Were you running good times or did it come tough for you?
No, it came pretty easily. I did a marathon in Denver where my brother was living at the time,
Oh,
and that went really well and actually came really close to Boston qualifying time, like just willy-nilly. And so I was like, oh, maybe I could actually qualify for Boston. So I ran Chicago where my other brother was living and qualified there. So that was my three marathons I've done is the Denver, Chicago, and then Boston.
oh, sweet.
It came fairly easily. It felt, just kind of fun. So,
That's awesome. So I'm curious in the big scheme of things, of course, times don't matter, but I'm curious, what was your first marathon time?
that's a good question. I think like 340-ish.
340. Okay. For your first one, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And so was it three marathons and then progressed to the 50K?
No, I did the two, and then I signed up for the 50K.
Okay.
Did that, decided that's where my life was going to go, 100%.
Really?
And then,
Really?
and I was dead set, totally on trails, didn't run roads anymore. I didn't train for road stuff. But then it came time to register for Boston that had qualified for, and I was like, well, I should definitely run Boston. I'll probably never get a chance to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to run Boston after entering the ultra world, and I got a very rude awakening when I was starving at like mile 18 of the Boston Marathon. And I was like, oh, it's okay. There's an aid station coming up. Totally forgot that road marathons don't have grilled cheeses and potato chips at the aid stations. They just had Gatorade and water, and I was regretting my decision hardly at that time.
So that explains your Instagram handle. Lauren runs for grilled cheese. I was going to ask about that. You must be just a fan of grilled cheese, or what's up there?
It's really good. Actually, the first 50K that I did at the aid, it was just a looped course, and so you came back to the same aid station 5 times. And I reached for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the volunteer there like stopped me and was like, but wait, do you want these? And like uncovered this tray of fresh hot grilled cheeses. And it was January. And I was like, yes, I do. I want a grilled cheese.
Yeah.
I just was like, what is this sport where you get to run and eat grilled cheeses? It's great.
Okay, so and you said your first 50K, you also decided that that was the direction your life was going to go. So this must have been like a life-changing come to Jesus moment. I mean, grilled cheeses. What was it? The grilled cheese sandwich, or what? Like specifically, like what was it that you decided like this is definitely the path I'm going to go down?
Just the whole experience, the people, the community, the scenery, everything was just so much more. I just felt so welcomed, and it was just very inviting, and it just seemed like more my atmosphere, a little more chill and laid back, and I just appreciated that a lot more.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just trying to picture this, like you hated running in middle school and then slowly started progressing as an adult from the half marathon to the marathon to the 50K. Like what pulled you into this sport? Like I know running's fun and you get a certain feeling afterwards, but I'm always curious, like Are people reading certain ultra marathon books, like certain literature? Are you watching certain movies? Did you have other influences, or was it just solely going to these events and just having a blast?
Yeah, I didn't read a ton of stuff or anything. I think it was more just the challenge in achieving something. And as you kind of go and go, you achieve more and more. And I think that feeling of achievement was huge for me.
Mm.
I still remember like exactly where I was when I first hit 10 miles on a run. For the first time, I was like double digits,
Nice. Yeah.
and then every little, like landmark after that is just kind of like a new achievement and a new thing that you've done. And
Mm.
I don't know, I guess it's kind of addicting.
Yeah. Yeah. Setting those goals and just slowly knocking them off.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I'm just trying to picture this. Was that something you felt like you needed in life, was to have these achievements and to sort of knock them off? Or was that something that you were missing? Or, I mean, I know that, yeah, just setting these goals and going out and doing them is a great feeling. So maybe that's the answer, but.
I guess I was missing it, but I didn't know that I was missing it until I found it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that wasn't something that you found like collegiately or with work or anything like that. You weren't able to find those awesome achievements in the good feels.
I think I did. And then I had finished school and had kind of gotten to the end point of all of that stuff. And so I guess it was just the next thing to achieve.
Yeah, totally. Totally. What was your first 50K?
It's called the Guts Fat Ass 50K. So it's just a super low key, old school with the local trail running group here in Atlanta. And they do it actually in the hometown where I grew up in Douglasville.
Nice.
And it's just, there's no entry fee, there's no prizes, there's no shirts, there's no nothing. You just come and run. And that's it. And it was just a cool feel, just so different than any giant road race I'd ever been a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. And you end up with like 20 best friends afterwards that
Yeah,
you stay in
exactly.
contact with forever.
Exactly.
And there was grilled cheese. So perfect. I'm in.
That's nothing.
Did you fall into the scene, like running with groups? Is there like a big scene where you live, or a big group of ultra runners that train together regularly?
Yeah, there's a ton actually here in Georgia. And so you slowly, it's kind of, I'm super shy. So it was like tough to like meet people and get into all those groups. But eventually, you go on one run and you meet somebody, and then they take you on a run, you meet some other people. And so you slowly infiltrate and kind of meet people. And then there's plenty of running events around here too. And so you slowly meet the whole family here. And then you end up just knowing everybody because it's still kind of a small world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's good. Actually, the first people I met on the trail, his name is John, and he saw that I was out at the park where the 50K was training for it. And we ran into each other a few weeks in a row out there just doing our long runs, and ended up meeting and chatting. And he ended up being like the person that took me on my very first real mountain run up in North Georgia mountains. He took me on like my first night run in the mountains. All kinds of first kind of stuff like that. And he was actually at Cocodona this week. So that was really cool.
No way. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. What's his name?
John Mullenauer.
John. Shout out John. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like he was important in your life in one way or another.
Definitely. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. And then what was your first 50 miler?
The Georgia Jewel, which is another race here in Georgia, up in North Georgia on the Pinhoti Trail.
Okay. Okay. And have you done Pinhoti 100?
I have. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So have you tackled like all the ultras in your neck of the woods? I'm guessing you have.
Yeah, I think so.
Like Ultra Sign Up had a bunch of Georgia races, it looked like.
I think I cycled through all the local ones here.
How did the first 50 miler go? Was that, I mean, I remember my first 50 miler was like, I was training for it like I was going to war, and it felt like I was in war, it felt like a big deal at the time. It was a big deal at the time.
Yeah. It was definitely a big deal. It was really fun. We rode so it was a point to point. So you ride a bus in the morning, like a big old school bus. And I rode in the back of the bus with a few other friends that I'd known, throughout meeting everybody. And I was super nervous. I was just trying to eat all the food I could possibly eat on the way so that I wouldn't be like starving and stuff while I was running. And they were talking me through it. It was great. And I started actually running with them. And we weren't going super fast or anything, kind of like just taking our time, making it through. And we got like 5 or 6 miles in and I felt great. I felt warmed up and I was like just ready to go. So I like took off and just went and had kind of a crazy day. And I ended up in third place, third lady. But I didn't know that until I finished. I had no idea. And so that was pretty cool. I had no idea. I was just hoping to survive the day, you know?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And so of course, like that kind of feeds the next thing. I was like, well, what else could I do? You know?
Totally. Yeah. And you mentioned that you're kind of a shy person. Are you introverted in the sense that you like to run alone, like to run alone a lot, or do you like to run with groups? Or, a lot of people look at running as a social thing, and other people look at it as, this is my me time. This is where I go out and I'm kind of in my own head.
It's definitely mostly my me time. I prefer to run alone. I have a few people that, you have to get kind of picky with running because it's a long time to spend with somebody and make sure you run the same paces and have the same goals for the day.
Yeah.
But, I tend to run alone a lot. I have a couple people that I definitely run more often and go on some big adventures and stuff like that, like all day long, all night kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, but mostly by myself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, me too. No, I love running by myself. I mean, I love racing as a way to socialize and run with people, and that's a total blast. But I like that because I run mostly by myself, and I enjoy running by myself. And it's everybody's different. So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you go right from the 50 mile to the 100-mile distance, or was there 100K in between there?
I never really did 100K. I did a couple of 50s before jumping to the 100, but I didn't really stop at there wasn't a whole lot of 100Ks around. And so I went from 50. I actually signed up for the first 100 by accident. So I didn't really mean to do my first 100. It was like, one of those nights where it was like New Year's Eve or something like that. And I'd had a few drinks and it was just like playing around an ultra sign up and accidentally put myself in the lottery for a race. And then totally forgot about it. And then when I got drawn for it, I was like, oh crap, I guess I'm running 100.
Which race was that?
Tahoe 100.
Oh, Tahoe. Okay. I'm looking at your ultra sign up now. It looks like after the Georgia Jewel, there was the Lookout Mountain 50 miler and a 42K, a 50K. Yeah. So, I mean, you didn't just jump right in. You took your time and built up some experience. You did it the smart way.
Okay, good.
The H9 Dragon. I've never heard of that race. That was a 50 miler. The Georgia Jewel.
Just kidding.
Did you say it was dumb?
Yeah. It's super hot. There's a lot of bushwhacking. It's like August in Georgia and it's just gnarly.
Oh shit. 17 hours for a 50 miler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds dumb.
Yeah.
The Georgia Jewel again, then a 30K, 36 miler. I mean, you've got a lot of races, but yeah, it looks like you definitely took your time getting to the 100-mile distance. I mean, and then Tahoe Rim was your first 100-miler. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious because, some people get over ambitious and jump into that first 100-miler and end up walking 80 miles of it, which is cool in its own way, I guess. But tell me about your first 100-mile then. Before we even get into that, tell me about your training as well for the first 100-mile.
Everything was just very willy-nilly. I just didn't really wear a watch. Didn't really have anything structured. I just ran some miles and made sure I ran a long run every weekend. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was just like, I don't know. I think it's just a run long.
How long?
Like 20 to 30 on Saturday usually.
Yep.
Then I'd add a few, I would run 5 to 10 miles on Sunday. And that was kind of, I don't know. I heard you're supposed to do back-to-back stuff. So that's what I tried to do something.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any structure at all to my training, which I enjoyed. But yeah, it It was fun. It was actually really cool. So I have a twin sister and I have two brothers that are younger, and they all came out to Tahoe for the race,
Nice.
for my crew, and that was really cool, to have them all there. And then one of my brothers, the middle brother, actually ran some of the race with me too.
Ah,
So it was cool. It was my first time staying up all night and running. It was like, just a whole lot of things. It was really hot in the daytime, like in the 90s, just scorching in the sun. And went up to high elevation, and I major struggled in that race, but I was like dead set on finishing,
sure.
like napping on rocks and doing all kinds of stuff. But I was definitely going to keep going no matter what.
Hell yeah. I like it. Yeah, and it's even more special when you can have family and friends there, people that you love, that love you, and everybody cares about each other. They want to see your success, and you also feel like you have to finish because you don't want to let them down. And yeah, and then you finish, and then yeah, it just all comes together.
Felt so good. Yeah, it was like one of like slowest 100-mile times, and I was like nowhere near anything cool at all. But I was like, couldn't have been happier to have finished that race, and was like so proud.
That's cool. Looks like 32 hours. Yeah, that must have been sort of a struggle fest for you. I mean, respectfully, I mean, don't get me wrong, 32 hours is still a finish, but yeah, I have a feeling that you're probably a little faster than that. And because it looks like your next 100-miler, which is that the same? Yeah, the same year, really just a few months after, was 27 hours. So you started shaving time off almost right away.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
So,
So you must have been hooked into this thing. After your first 100-miler, you did another one a few months later. Then there was just like no turning back, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I believe that I read somewhere, I don't know if it was on Instagram or where it was, that you have a coach now. When did you go from no structure at all to hiring a coach and trying to put some more structure behind this?
It was like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I just decided to see like what, I've been running and doing fairly well, and just decided to see like, well, I can while I'm still like kind of young enough, see what I can do, see what my potential is. And so it's been kind of cool.
Okay. Do you know how many 100-milers you've done up to this point?
It's 8 or 9. I forget.
Okay. And also, I'm still just looking at your ultra sign up, but was this your first 200+ mile race, Cocodona?
It was, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I've done 280 miles before, but not as a race.
Oh, what was that?
I attempted to set the FKT on the Pinhoti Trail, the entire thing.
Yeah.
350 miles. Was doing well, but had some tendon issues and ended up having to stop at mile 280.
Okay.
But I learned a lot from that experience for sure, which I think definitely helped with Cocodona big time.
I bet. Even 280 miles, just having that under your belt. You've been further than 250 miles, so it makes it a little bit easier mentally.
Yeah, for sure. I knew I could do it. And I knew that I went about it all wrong the first time. And so I was like totally revamped my entire approach and plan for it, which I think worked. So
like, what were some of the mistakes you made? You said, like, if you did it wrong, like there must be something in particular.
I think mostly was like my mindset going into it and what to expect and what I thought it was going to be like. I think there's no way to know what it feels like to run for days on end until you run for days on end. It's just kind of a bizarre thing. To be running at night, like having run all day, running through the night, and know that you're still going to be running 2 nights from now. It's really hard to like wrap your brain around,
right?
Even when you're doing it. And then just the expectations for sleep. I was originally like, oh yeah, I'll like, kick out like 75 miles, sleep for 4 or 5 hours. It'll be great, and I'll do it again and again. But that's just like completely unrealistic and stupid. And I didn't get that the first time. And so then the whole time you're like, my mind was just in a terrible place because I wasn't getting the sleep I wanted. I wasn't getting the miles I wanted. And I just, I was just in a really bad place. And so this time it was like, no, like, we're not going to approach it that way. You're going to sleep. Trying to schedule sleep is really hard because you can't tell when your body's going to be like ready to sleep. Like I would lay down because I was supposed to be sleeping, but couldn't fall asleep. And so you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
So this time I had no scheduled sleep. I would just play it by ear and just see when I'm getting sleepy, and just sleep when the body wanted to sleep. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that also makes it hard because that sounds like more trail naps rather than being able to crash in the back of a van or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I did a little bit of both. I would wait. My first nap was like 20 minutes in the RV, and that felt really good. Just a quick little nap, close your eyes, and kind of get back to it. And then I did take some trail naps, like 5-minute trail naps, that were also quite refreshing.
Yeah. Did I see that you also ran the Georgia Appalachian Trail and set an FKT there as well?
I did, yeah.
And that's a different trail, right? I'm not super familiar with that area.
Yeah, it's a different trail. So it is the Appalachian Trail that goes from Georgia to Maine.
Yep.
And so I did the Georgia section, which is about 5 miles from the North Carolina border down to Springer Mountain, which is the terminus.
How many miles did you say?
It's about 75.
75. Okay. And so that must have been pretty fast if you set the FKT.
Yeah, I did it in just under 20 hours. It has about 20,000 feet of gain. But it is the overall FKT for the Georgia section.
Overall, nice. How did you approach that? Were you trying to get faster? Were you working on climbing, studying other people's splits? Like, how did that go down?
Mainly working on climbing and just in speed, and then trying to work on, I think I've saved a lot of time on like aid station transitions over the last year or so, just completely limiting stops and my time there. So it was just literally just a handoff of bottles and gels and then keep running.
Okay.
And that just, over time, that time adds up big time. But yeah, just trying to work on climbing was the big thing for that section because there was so much climbing in that.
Okay. Like, how specifically did you work on your climbing? Did you do anything special or incorporated poles, or like, how do you work on your climbing? I mean, I live in Colorado. I do a lot of it, but how do you specifically hone in on that?
I practiced on the actual route that I was doing a lot.
Okay.
I ran a bunch of long runs because it's only an hour and a half, 2 hours from my house.
Okay.
So it was really easy to get up there and practice on the actual course, which helps. And then I've incorporated a lot of like weight vest strength training with lunges and squats and weight vest hikes and stuff like that, which I think just has helped my legs quite a bit.
Really? So you didn't find that injured you with the weight vest? It helped?
No, I think it actually helped. All the little nagging injuries have kind of gone away starting that. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I guess I'm curious how much weight you were using. I mean, there's different levels of weight vests.
There is. It came with 60 pounds, but I can't lift that off the floor.
That's a lot.
I think it's 26 that's in there right now.
26. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Sweet. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you. That's awesome. I've tried it before, but I just felt like it just kind of, I got a little bit busted up after a while, but I don't know. Maybe I was using too much weight or not doing it right, but no, that's interesting. And lunges and squats at home with the weight vest. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice. All right. And it's the overall FKT. That's pretty awesome. It had to have felt good. That's like a little cherry on top.
Yeah, that one felt really good.
Yeah.
It's like the first trails that I ever ran on trail runs and stuff. And so it's just like super special because these are like my home trails that I just go to all the time. And that one felt really good.
Yeah, nice. And what did you have for support out there?
I had my crew. I had my partner Tim, and then one of our other friends was out there. So just a tiny little crew.
Okay.
And they did great. I met them every like 15 to 20 miles or so.
Okay. And what did you say? Every 15 to 20 miles? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's pretty perfect. And you said it was quick, just hand off water bottles and keep going.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And I saw on your list, you have Leadville as well. And Leadville is probably my favorite race. I've done it a couple times. I got to hear about your experience there too.
Well, I DNF'd it the first time. I ran it in 2019. Had no idea what I was doing. And it's just pre-coach and pre-training and all that stuff. And I didn't really study the course. I just I wasn't even really, I've been kind of distracted and hadn't really been training much at all or running much at all. But I had gotten it. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to do it. Just gonna do it anyways. It'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? I live at basically sea level.
Right.
Let's just get to 12,000 feet. It'll be great. No problem. So I was feeling fine for the first half of the race, and then Hope Pass on the way back just absolutely crushed me. And I was just a shell of a human by the time I got back to Twin Lakes. I came in there, and then so I came into Twin Lakes just seconds away from the cutoff. And that was just a new thing. I had never raced cutoffs before. I didn't even know what the cutoffs were. And so I'm running and I'm like, I don't even know how long I have to get there. And I was just a big teary mess. Mentally completely broken. I think physically I would have been fine to finish. And I was only 38 miles or whatever from the end. I definitely could have finished, but mentally I was totally broken. And I left Twin Lakes and headed out, but I dropped at the next aid station. So by choice, it was totally just me not being in the game that year. So
for sure. Yeah. And how long before you came back and bettered that score?
I was supposed to come back in 2020, but of course the world fell apart and they canceled the race. So I went back last year, 2021.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. That was your time. Okay. And you got in, well under 30 hours. So, chasing cutoffs and all that noise. Oh, are you there? Did I lose you?
It got cut out for a second there. I think you're back.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. What did you do differently your second time at Leadville?
I actually trained a little bit and ran before the race. But I think
that helps.
Yeah, that helped. I think that was mainly it. Just I actually started running again and was a lot more mentally prepared for it. And at that point after DNF, I was bound and determined to finish. So that helped. But just having studied the course and actually trained was a big change.
Yeah, for sure. And was that before a coach or after a coach?
That was
second Leadville.
Yeah, I had a coach by then, and so then I was a lot more trained and ready to go. Yeah.
Yep.
I think I lost you again.
How has having a coach? No, shoot. Let me see here. Sorry about that. I will switch my Wi-Fi. Check. Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You still? Okay. Sorry about that. It may be my fault. I apologize. How did having a coach help you?
I had gone through a bit of a lull with running and stuff, just with some life changes that were all great and happy. I met my partner Tim and was just a little distracted with all that stuff. And so it just got me more back into training, and it held me accountable, essentially, which was huge. So they're all things, it's all good life stuff, but you get distracted and you take time away from other stuff. But then I had someone to answer to if I didn't go on a run.
And hopefully this will help. There. Lauren, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear? Okay. So I caught part of that answer. I apologize. So your coach just helped keep you accountable, and I didn't catch the rest of it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it was just I had gotten distracted in life with all good life changes, meeting my partner Tim and doing all that stuff. But yeah, it basically was just someone to keep me accountable to running.
Okay. And does your coach have you doing strength training and running big miles, or what does that look like?
Strength training and big miles, but big miles that aren't too disruptive. I actually had a different coach previously, and I have a newer coach now. I think I just got a little burnt out before running too many miles, and just there's a lot to fit in with a full-time job and a family and all that stuff. And so now I feel like I'm at a level where it's sustainable, but like productive for what I try to do. And I think I just feel happy and excited to go run, which is helpful. The sport is so much of your mental game has to go into it. And so to be happy and excited is huge.
Yeah, yeah, totally. You have to have the right mindset. And you're right. Life happens, things get in the way. Um, I forgive me for not knowing this, but do you have children? Do you have kids?
I have a 10-year-old stepdaughter.
Okay. Okay. So that's your family, your partner, you have a stepdaughter, so you're busy. You have a full-time job. I'm guessing your nursing schedule is demanding. Most nurses work a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Do you work like 4 10s, or how many hours do you guys work? Like 4 12s, or it's something crazy?
And it's always kind of weird. I work mostly hour shifts, and then we do call shifts and stuff where we're in-house overnight. And so it's pretty normal and fine. It's early mornings. And so, but luckily, like I usually out of the house by like 6 a.m. But I usually get off around 3, which is nice because it gives me the afternoon to get my run in before dinner time and all that stuff while homework's being done and work's being finished. So it works out. It's just, you gotta you go to work, you got to get your run in. If you don't get your run in right after work, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's some discipline in there, but the schedule works out. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. You get home from work and it's like, you got to keep moving. If I stop and sit down for a couple minutes, the run's not going to happen. You got to keep this train going.
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So I think we're at Cocodona. I think we're up to this point in the story. I'm curious, like what your training looked like for Cocodona. I think that you thanked your coach and said you couldn't have done it without him or something like that in your IG post. So, like, what was your weekly mileage, and what did your typical week look like training for Cocodona?
It was, so she had me running, I think we maxed out at 75 or 80 miles a week, but only did that a couple of weeks. A lot of it was in the like 50 to 70 mile range for a week, which actually had me pretty nervous because if you look at some of the other, quite a bit more than
Right.
that. So
Okay.
I was definitely feeling nervous, but I was also feeling really strong when I was doing my runs, and they were all very structured runs because we were trying to keep the mileage down to make it doable and fit in life without being too stressful. So they're all very structured runs. Every run had a purpose and a workout to it or something to it. And so I felt really strong on all my runs, and I felt really happy and excited. I did a couple really big kind of monster runs with like 2 of my running girlfriends that I always go with, and they felt great. We like had a really great time. And then I, worked in some of the strength training a couple times a week. I started doing core strength work, which I had never done in my life. And so she had me doing some other things that I think made me a better, well-rounded kind of runner,
Okay.
instead of just running miles. And so it did help me feel really strong and good. I definitely got a little nervous looking at other people's training and realizing that my miles were a lot less than theirs. But it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, it paid off. It worked. What were some of the specific workouts that you were doing with those runs of yours?
Some of them were just like runs. We do a run for like 5 or 6 miles and then do a set of strides. So like a faster pace kind of 30 to 45 second with a little rest in between, and do that like 10 or 12 times.
Mm.
Some of them were just faster, bigger blocks, 5 or 6 minutes at a time, and then like a little bit of a rest, and then 5 or 6 minutes at a time, faster paced. So it's just different combos of like easy running with faster leg turnover and stuff like that. That was mainly it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so were you using cold water rumble as sort of a training run?
Yeah, I had taken a whole lot of time off from Leadville last year and hadn't done a ton since then. And so I was using it to kind of kick off training for Cocodona. Came into it very cold and had only really started running a couple weeks before that consistently. I ran probably, there was a few weeks that I had like 5 miles a week. And then I had a couple 15, 20-mile weeks. And then I got a little more consistent leading up to cold water for like the couple weeks before that. And then, yeah, that was kind of like let's just see what your legs can do and just like kick off some training with a really good run. And that went super well. So it worked.
And okay. And then the training we were just talking about was in between cold water and Cocodona, like the 50, 60-mile weeks and a couple bigger weeks than that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long ago did you sign up for Cocodona? Did you know you were doing this race for months and months, or had you been planning this for a while?
Yeah, I signed up for it in the fall sometime. I forget exactly when.
Okay.
I knew it was coming for sure.
Okay. Okay. And did you talk to your coach about goals or anything going into Cocodona?
A little bit. It was mainly like, let's finish this thing for sure and feel good. It felt a little like arrogant to try to like say like goals out loud of like wanting to place well or something like that. So I was like a little nervous to really vocalize anything like that, but I definitely wanted, you always want to do well, but it just felt weird to say it out loud as something so big.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you've never gone, well, I guess you had gone that far, but never really raced that far. So yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay. So tell me about like the week leading up to the race. Were there nerves? Were you looking forward to this thing? Were you tapered? How did that go?
Yeah, we did a really good 2-week taper. In the week of the race, or like the week before the race, I think we did maybe 30 miles, 35 miles that week. But so some of the same regular runs during the week, but just no long run on the weekend at all. Or very short run, I forget. It was maybe 5 or 10 miles. But my legs were feeling super great and I was feeling really confident. Of course, I get super nervous as the race gets closer and closer. Because you look at it for so far away on the calendar and then it gets really close and you realize that you're about to fly out to Arizona and you're about to actually do this thing that you've been planning for forever.
Yeah.
I had like a pile in the dining room here that was like my Cocodona pile for like 2 months of stuff that I would need to pack, So it was just like a lot of like double checking, make sure I had all the gear I needed and everything I needed to bring. So that was definitely where a lot of my focus was. Nervous energy, maybe for like the week before.
For sure. Yeah. And how did the race start off for you? I'm guessing you didn't start off the second place female, but maybe you did. I don't know. What was like your plan for the first day?
Yeah, I definitely didn't start off there. I had a plan for a time goal that I wanted. I wanted to be under 80 hours, which seemed a little crazy, but I thought it was doable. Just doing some math based on what I had run at the attempt that I'd done before with 280 miles and things like that. So just doing math, which, math on paper never really equates to trail math when you actually get up there, but I figured it was doable. So I had a plan to run under 80 hours and I wanted to do the first 100 around about 24 to 25 hours. And I thought that would be a good steady pace, but not kill my legs or anything, but keep me kind of up, where I could still be competitive if I felt good later on. And so I knew what that pace looked like. And so I just tried to stick within what my plan was, because everyone took off. They all went out really fast.
Really?
Really tempting to like chase everybody down. Because it was a pretty pretty runnable first part, which is a change from last year's course that we had. The whole course changed for the fires and everything. So it was a very fast runnable 100 miles or 50K at least. And so everyone took off. It was really tempting to follow them, but I really tried to be patient and hold back and do what my plan was, knowing that that's what I know I can do. That's what I know I can do and feel good later on. So I think I stuck to it pretty well. I've ended up doing 100 miles.
So did you pretty much?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Second, folks, we'll try this again. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about this. I can go in and edit this out, so it's all good. So did you stick to the first 100-mile plan? Did you do 100 miles in like 25-ish hours?
I did. Yeah, I hit it right around 25 and a half hours. Yeah.
I mean, that seems kind of fast for a 250-mile race. But were there a lot of people ahead of you, or did you feel like that was fast, or is that somewhat conservative, or I guess I don't know. I've never done a 200-mile race.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like a very doable pace for what the course was. And there was a lot of people up in front of me, pretty far back. I don't know where I was overall at that time, but there was a lot of people in front of me. And so it felt like I felt very comfortable. I was having a great time and was not feeling like I was working too hard or anything. It felt comfortable and great. So.
Okay. I was looking at the Cocodona Instagram. I'm not a social media freak, I promise, but it said when you came across the finish line, it said, Lauren is I just lost it. Lauren is another example of a strong, steady, and calculated. She patiently ran. She very benefits by snag. $34. Did I lose you again?
Yeah.
Got it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know if you heard that. Do you feel like that was a pretty accurate description?
Yeah, I think it was. Just being patient and trying to stay out of the drama of racing too soon. I think that's the only thing that could be just like could kill your race is if you try to race on the first day. It's just way too early. There's just so much race left. And so I tried to just actively, it was an active, story, but like I had to like actively tell myself not to race, not to get caught up in it, even though it's like really hard to watch people just zoom off and go. But yeah, I think patience was definitely part of it for sure.
Okay. When did you go down for your first sleep?
Where did I sleep? It wasn't until I think when I got down to Jerome, which was just over the 100-mile mark. I think I hit 100 miles on the way down there, if I'm remembering correctly. And I got really frustrated and it was really hot. And I was in a really bad mood when I got down there. I was crying a little bit. So we decided it was a good time to take a 20-minute nap, which was super helpful. I definitely got up in a way better mood. But the section leading down there, you climb up Mingus Mountain, which is a really big climb. And then you have this nice long 17-mile, what looked like on paper, like this nice long cruisy downhill into Jerome. And I was looking forward to having just like this lovely downhill. And at that time, with the timing, I would have been like well over 100 miles with 25 hours in. And then I got on the trail and it was just a complete rock garden and not runnable and kind of miserable. And I was just like so frustrated with the course, with the trail by the time I got down there. And I just was in a really bad mood. So
Yeah. Okay. Second nap. Did you wait till another 24, 25 hours, or did it come a little bit sooner, or, and were these planned, or were you just kind of crashing whenever and wherever you could?
definitely not planned. I was just crashing when I felt like I needed it. That was my first like sleep in the RV for 20 minutes, set an alarm kind of nap. I
Okay.
think I took another one when I came back to Munns Park, which you get to Munns Park aid station at around mile 170, I believe. And then there's an out and back from there that so you come back to the same aid station again. That puts you at 187. And I took like a 30-minute nap in there, I think. So it was just late. It had been long, and it was about to be a long section by myself in the cold. And so I took a little nap before I went there, and that one felt good too.
So not much sleep so far. A couple days and only like an hour of sleep so far.
Yeah. I think I had an hour and a half or so total sleep.
Total. What?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like 3 naps? Whoa. Okay. Um, is sleep deprivation something you're good at because of your nursing background, or what's going on here? That's pretty amazing.
No, I don't think I'm good at it. I took a lot of caffeine. Just trying
Okay.
to, yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not.
What caffeine do you use while you're running? I mean,
I
if you use
actually
too much, you
have,
have an upset belly.
I know, I was a little worried about it, but I have these caffeine pills that are like 200 milligrams a pop, and they're like super easy to get down,
Okay.
and
Yep.
they seem to help. So that was it. Cause I'm usually a coffee drinker, but I cannot drink coffee while I'm running.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
tried the pills, and they seem to do the job. There's
Okay.
caffeine in the gels and stuff like that too, but it's not a ton.
Yep. Yep. And I'm always curious, do you listen to music while you're running out there?
I do, yeah. When I start to get really bored or just need to take my mind off stuff, I have a little mix of all kinds of random stuff. It's just a whole
Yeah.
bunch of different things, and it just cycles through.
Okay.
So I do that quite a bit.
Give me an example of one of the crazy songs you listen to.
Oh man, let me see. I could pull it up. Let me see what I got. See what comes up. I'm kind of embarrassed. Also, I don't know anybody who sings any songs, and I don't like. I'm terrible at music, so I'm sure it's like a little embarrassing for.
That's all right.
There's some Ariana Grande. There's some old Sierra stuff, 1-2 step, like super old school things. Yeah, I don't know. Bunch of embarrassing stuff. Some Imagine Dragons. It's kind of nerdy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's funny, like my running playlist is completely different from my regular life playlist. It's the music is like completely opposite. And yeah, I think more people are embarrassed about their running playlist than, these are the songs that pump me up, but I don't want to tell everybody about these songs. They're kind of a guilty pleasure. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm guessing you had pacers out there.
Not really.
What?
I kind of tend to like to do it by myself. I did
way.
have pacers, but I didn't have a whole lot of pacing planned. So Tim, my partner, his brother Phil came down from Michigan to help crew, and he is actually training for his first 100 in September.
Oh.
And he ran the second night with me.
Okay.
And so he did about 40 or so miles with me, which I wasn't really planning to have somebody for that long, but it actually turned out to be really nice to have him there. It was the second night, so you still have a really long way to go. And just where I was in the mix of all the runners, I went for like 24 hours without seeing another runner on the trail.
Wow.
And it happened to be during that night too. And so it was really nice to have company out there because I was just very alone. And the woods kind of felt creepy that night. So it was really nice to have him out there. But then that's it. My partner Tim did the little 16-mile out and back with me from Munns Park, but the rest of it I did solo.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Any hallucinations or anything like that while you're out there? You didn't sleep very much.
Not really hallucinations. I definitely, all the like dead sticks and logs and stuff and rock formations definitely looked like something different until I got there.
Yep.
You know, I definitely was making up all kinds of stuff that they were, I don't know if that counts as a hallucination, but they definitely looked like weird shapes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've definitely had those, but no dragons or anything crazy like that. Okay.
Nothing
Okay.
supernatural. Yeah.
At what point did you feel like I'm a contender in this thing? I'm up there in the top females, and I'm doing better than I thought that I'd be doing.
Yeah, it was probably 100. Once I get past the 100-mile mark, luckily there's like live tracking, and so you can see exactly where everybody is the whole time. And so my crew was very up to date on where everybody was. And at some point, I had gotten like 7 miles up on the third place person, and like 2 miles up. It was like barely up, but like up. I was always way behind Amy. She was way up there. So that wasn't even a reality. But at some point I had gotten ahead of people, and I didn't even realize it because I didn't really pass them on the trail. I think I must have passed the aid stations or something, but I didn't pass everybody on the trail. So I wasn't quite aware of where I was. But then they informed me of the gaps that I had. And so then that kind of fires you up for sure. And then you start going a little harder. Let's see if I can get another half mile on them and stuff like that. So at some point, it ended up just being 7 to 10 miles in front. And it just kind of steadily kept growing, which was just like surreal and crazy to me. So I didn't do that.
So cool. Tell me your highest high and your lowest low out there.
I think my lowest low is that section coming to Jerome from Mingus Mountain, where I was like angry at all the rocks and all that stuff. It was hot. It was so many rocks. I was really looking forward to running downhill, and it was totally unrunnable. That was definitely my lowest low. And that was it. After that, I really didn't have much of a low point
Nice.
per se. There's like higher highs and stuff like that, but I had never really got that emotional or anything, which is not typical for me. So that was really nice. I think the highest high, besides finishing and like being done, the second night when I had Phil running with me, we were running through Sedona. It was dark. We couldn't really tell what we were looking at, but there looked like there was rocks all around us. And I knew Sedona was really pretty, but we couldn't see any of it. It was pitch dark. There's no moonlight whatsoever. We climbed one of the other really big climbs of the race up onto the Cocodona Plateau, which is like a 3,000 foot climb or so. That was real steep, real rocky, real technical. And we got up to the top of that just in time for sunrise. And so the sun came up and it just lit up all the red rocks that were around us. Wow. This really cool, great view. And it just felt so good to get that climb behind us, because it was one of the big climbs of the race. So that was done, and we got up to the top, and it was just beautiful. That was really nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So in that moment, do you stop and take a couple pictures, or are you trying to move so fast that that's not an option for you?
No, I just kept moving. I wouldn't say so fast, but I was still moving. But I just kept moving. I didn't take any pictures. Actually, the only picture I took in the race was of all those rocks coming down from Jerome.
Okay.
I didn't take any other pictures of the views or anything the whole race.
Okay.
There's just too much to get my phone out, and I just wanted to focus on moving. You know.
For sure. Yep. Describe the last, I don't know, I'm just picking a number, the last 20 or 30 miles. Was it torture, or are you feeling elated at that point, or what was that like?
It was really fun. I left, so the last 30 or so, the last like 50K, I left Fort Tut Hill, where I took my last nap. It was freezing cold overnight, and I woke up from the nap there and was just ready to get this thing done, and figured out we'd done all the math with all the trackers, and as long as I just kept moving, I was going to finish second, and as long as I just kept moving, I was going to be top 10 overall. And so it was just like, okay, you just gotta finish this thing and get it in the bag. And it just felt really good to be that close to the finish. I didn't quite realize how long it was going to take me to do that 50K at the time. So I was a lot more fired up. But I charged out there and was like really putting some good miles down. And it was just this beautiful little section, and it was just, the sunrise was really pretty. And then I finally made it to Walnut Canyon, where you have about 21 miles left to go, where I saw my crew for the last time. It was so great to be there. 21 miles felt like almost nothing compared to what I had just done. So in my mind, I was like done. But 21 miles is still 21 miles.
Right.
So it was a really big climb in there up Mount Eldon. And so it was great. I was actually having a really good time out there. I had like some ramen at the aid station, got my blisters taped up one more time, and was just ready to like be done again. Yeah. So I took off and was going. I was actually on the phone chatting with some of my friends from back home, just like, just talking about stuff, distracting me from the whole thing, and just put me in a really good mood. Like, it's fun to chat with some friends and stuff. Then it got really hot. And you're at the base of Mount Eldon, just kind of running all around the trails there. There's this black sand, and it just reflects all the heat right onto you. And I just felt like I was in an oven. It was rough. So that was, I slowed down, and I started to like realize like how much longer I actually still was going to be out there. I hadn't really processed that. And so that became a reality in my mind, which is fine. It was fine. I was just going to power through. But it was definitely like a little bit of a blow, because I was really thinking in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna be done in like 2 hours, right? It's great. But it definitely wasn't. It was like 7. So, but it was really cool. I was running through there, and I got to this little bridge that you have to cross, and there was about 50 to 100 kids out there. And I couldn't really figure out what they were doing. My mind's not working great. I was like, what is this thing here? Whatever. And this man comes up and he's like, are you Lauren? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, he yells back to all the kids, it's Lauren. And they all rush and go around and like surround the bridge on both sides. And they're just like cheering, Lauren, Lauren, Lauren. And I was just bawling my eyes out. It was like so cute. That was so cool. And so that like really gave me a pep in my step and like fired me up for the last little bit. So I got to the base of Mount Eldon to start the big climb, which is like a 3,500 foot climb. And I didn't realize how gnarly that climb was going to be. And it was a lot longer and a lot harder, and there's like scrambling, and it was just kind of crazy. So it kind of started to break me down, and I actually got a little emotional. She called Tim and was like, where? I was like, look at the tracker. I was like, am I near the top? Where is this thing? I watched, and I'd gone the mileage, I'd gone the climbing, like all the elevation gain I'd passed, and I was like, I should be there, and I was just so ready to be done. So I finally, he played some tough love, and I was like, you'll be fine. I'll call you back later. Bye. And I was like, wait, what could be so important? Don't talk me through this, So I was like, I guess I just gotta go. So I guess it worked. But then I finally got to the aid station. You wrap around the top of the mountain and finally drop down into the aid station up there. And I was just so excited to see that aid station, because I was 8 miles from home at that point. But it had been gnarly. So I walked in and I was like, please tell me you have a beer. And they did. So I drink a beer, sitting up there chatting with everybody. They were like lovely. They were so fun. I was kind of hated to leave because they were like really cool. Then I was like, no, let's just go. There's better things waiting. So got back on the trail, and I had 8 more miles, which I thought was also going to be just like all this cruisy, nice downhill. And it was not as easy as I had hoped it would be. It was kind of a rough 8 miles. But I was just like, it's okay, just keep moving. So you finally make it down. We run through Buffalo Park, which is like the last bit. And then as I came through there, I knew I was like, by then my watch miles weren't quite matching up with the race anymore. And so I wasn't sure exactly where I was. And so I knew I had some more miles to go, but I wasn't sure exactly. But I came out of the park, and I was met by the 2 like live stream camera video guys. and they came to run with me, and I was like, oh, great. I must be done.
Must be getting close.
Yeah. So of course I put all my effort into like my last like push that I think is like 500 yards. It definitely was not 500 yards. So we're going up this hill and I see a big pavilion or building and people, and I was like, that must be it. That's the finish line, you know? And then we get up there and it's very not the finish line. There's like two, you know, there's like two people up there, which I definitely thought was more. It definitely wasn't the finish line. So we kept going and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep running because I started running and there's cameras on me now. I can't really stop running. And I'm like exhausted, you know. I'm just trying to make it through. So I'm following all the things and I just like look over the guy finally. I was like, well, where is it? You know? And so he's trying to describe to me like where else I have to go. And it was at least like another mile. I was like, oh, okay, that's okay. So it was a little bit of a rough like last mile and a half or so, but because I thought I was there and then I wasn't there. But then we're making it through. We're in the streets of downtown Flagstaff, and you know, you have to be close by then.
Yep.
And so we're going down the hill, and I finally see my crew and everybody, and they're just like cheering and like so excited. I'm just like bawling my eyes out and like so excited to finally be there and like be at this point. And it's just like so surreal. And they ran me in the last like 100 yards or so into the finish. That was just like awesome. It was just so cool.
Wow. And you're going to remember that forever. That is really cool. I'm always curious what people do to celebrate too. Did you fall asleep? Did you eat a big meal? Did you have a beer? Like, what did you do at the end?
I had a beer like immediately. Oh, you better have a beer waiting for me when I get there. It delivered perfectly. So we sat there, had a beer, just like enjoyed. I was just so grateful for my crew that were there helping me the whole time, but I hadn't been able to hang out with them. So I just wanted to hang out, you know?
Yeah.
So we just had a beer and hung out and just enjoyed it, enjoyed like the whole scene and watched, you know, it was waiting to see some other people finish and stuff like that. So just hung out there for a while. Then we eventually went and got cleaned up a bit, and then I fell asleep and they got food.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just, I really just wanted to hang out because I just hadn't been able to, and I was just so grateful.
Totally. Yeah. You can't do it without your crew, right? I mean,
no, absolutely not.
When you have all your loved ones there, you just want to do so much for them because like we did it, you know, and I know the feeling. Well, what a cool adventure. Thank you for sharing it. I mean, and just hats off to you. Congrats. I mean, just, I loved every minute of it. It's so cool.
Thank you so much.
What's next for you? Do you have races on the horizon? Are you going to take some time off? You already went back to work today, which is pretty insane.
Yeah. Work doesn't stop. My next big race will be the No Business 100 in October. So I have a little break.
Okay, good. Are you going to take some time off? Like what is the next, I mean, do you take like a month off before you get back into it, or how does it work for you?
I'm not sure. I got to talk to my coach and see, but I'll for sure take this week off, I think, and then maybe slowly get in there, get back to it. Nothing big, I'm sure, for weeks, but you know, I've already got some run adventures playing with my girlfriends and stuff. So let's get back there.
Well, please put your feet up this week, eat some ice cream, watch a movie. Yeah, enjoy yourself for sure. Even though you're working, take some time off for sure. Well, thank you so much again for sharing it. I loved it all. And just best of luck in the future. We'll keep an eye on you and can't wait to see what's coming up next.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Yes. All right. Have a good day. We'll see you.
Bye. Bye.